Trading can drive you fucking crazy if you let it, man. It can drive you wild, especially when you're just starting out. Today was kind of one of those days. It was Monday. Technically, it was a bank holiday, but price action was moving relatively clean. We were getting some decent movement, and I really liked how the higher time frame looked. So I decided to take a couple trades today. I'm going to go over those trades. I will discuss why trading can drive you crazy, how it sort of annoyed me today, and how you can really just try to control your emotions. Because I know in the past, I would just go batshit crazy when price action was chopping around. I see it all the time. I see it with newer YouTubers who are documenting their journey. You know, it can literally make grown men cry, which is wild. This is such a crazy game, such an emotional game. And today was an example of a day that really tested my emotions. So I'm just going to go over the trading day. I'm going to go over the two trades that I took, and let's hop right into it here. So let me just go into replay mode real quick. Bing, bop. Okay. So the first thing I was looking at was the 4-hour time frame. I noticed that we had this beautiful 4-hour breaker here. So before market opened, before New York opened, we had this huge red candle. And what I wanted to see was price come back up, rebalance this price range, come back into premium, come back into this breaker, and then continue to the downside. So I wanted to see price sweep this low simply because we had this beautiful 4-hour breaker that I expected was going to hold price down. And I thought that it would act bearish to the downside and we'd take those lows simply because we just had this huge move from the last couple of days. So this is election week. We just pumped all election week. And this price action is just simply not sustainable, man. Like we just skyrocket. We boost. And this move is going to get retraced at one point or another. The market never just continues, going up and up and up. It's impossible. So I was looking for a retracement here. I wanted to see price come back down and at least take Friday's lows. So this is what I was looking for. I was on the 1-minute chart here. This was market open. And the new 4-hour candle opens at 10. So for those of you guys that don't know, that's why we get a lot of big moves and price reversals at 10. So looking at price here, as we can see, what is going on? Oh my gosh. Okay, so as we can see, price drops at 10. We get that 4-hour candle open. So we get that 10 o'clock reversal. That new 4-hour candle opens, and we immediately retrace back into this big 4-hour bearish breaker. So as soon as we hit this breaker, I'm looking to go short. Yes, it is a bank holiday, but price was moving well, man. Like a lot of the time on bank holidays, you'll get, 20, 30 point ranges. We dropped 100 points right at market open. So I had enough volatility that I was willing to take a trade. The first trade that I did take was based on this 4-hour. We tap back into it, and then we immediately close below this 5-minute. 5 minutes are not really my cup of tea, but I was willing to hop in on this. I was willing to take the risk. So the first trade I took was a short. I hopped in as soon as we closed below this, and I believe I got stopped out right there. And again, I was targeting the daily lows as the first target, and then I wanted to target Friday's lows because I knew we would eventually retrace back into Friday's lows. So this failed, and there's a number of reasons this might have failed. I think I was a bit too early. I had a lot of faith in this 4-hour, so I got a bit too cocky, and as well, we retraced back into this 5-minute order block. So what happened was we closed below, but we had another bearish PD array right below this inverse, which, as you can see, moved price back to the upside. So I was right. I just got in a little bit too early. So I decided to hop back on the 1 because the 1-minute chart's what I know. That's what I trade for the most part. 1 minute, 2 minute. That's where I look for my entries. So I really just should have stuck with what I know. And this was the second trade I took. And this is really what tested my patience today. So again, I was targeting the daily lows on this trade, 4-hour bearish breaker. We start dancing around. I'm looking at this gap for a potential short on the 1 minute. I don't really like it too much as it's in discount. So what I look for is another potential entry, and then we do get it. So we have relative equal highs up here. I want to wait for these highs to get swept. We sweep these highs. We get a little displacement leg, a little manipulation leg over those highs. And what do we have below? We have a beautiful 1 minute fair value gap that we inverse with a lot of power. So as soon as we inverse this, I decide to hop in short. This setup looks good. We sweep these relative equal highs, manipulation leg. I love seeing a small manipulation leg like that. Take these highs. We take an absolute shit through this fair value gap. I like that we used it as support to the upside, which means that it'll it means that price is respecting this gap. When you see price tap into it, bounce off it, and then go up to the upside, that's what I like to see. We manipulate, and then we take a dump through it. And because it got respected to the upside, probably means that it'll get respected to the downside as well. So that gave me a little bit of extra conviction. I hop in the short here, stop loss above this gap. And as you can see, as soon as we take out this low here, I decide to go break even. So we take this swing low out. I'm already up about 15 points at this point. So I'm not going to let a 15-point potential win turn into a loss. So as soon as we sweep this low, I put my stop loss to break even. And this is where my stop loss is. So I'm sitting through price. I know we have this 4-hour breaker up here. I know we need to retrace this move on the higher time frame. So in my mind, I'm almost certain that price is going to take a dookie. And what happens? Price takes this low. We almost take this low down here as well, but we don't quite take it. And we come back up. And this thing almost stopped me out, man. I think I was like a tick away from getting stopped out. My PNL went from up $3.50 to up $5. So I was like one tick away from getting stopped here. And at this point, this is when my emotions started, really kicking in. This trade, usually when I'm in a trade, I like to see price move quick. Obviously, it's a bank holiday. Price wasn't really moving too quick, but the fact that it danced around for 10-15 minutes like this just to almost stop me out and then reverse was very tough to sort of sit through. I took a relatively big loss on the day and I was just salty. Honestly, I was salty. It just means I got to get better at controlling my emotions, but I for sure thought I was going to get stopped out here and I would have been done for the day. I wouldn't have tried to force anything else. But luckily, price reversed. We took this low here, which is a intermediate term low. It's a very obvious low. And I was worried that price would reverse again. And as you can see, I'm still in this position. We just chop around, man, for another 20 minutes. And sitting through this was just driving me nuts. We were fluctuating about 15 points up and down, up and down, up and down. And I just started, going crazy. I just wanted to be out of this position. I was in it for about 35 minutes. I noticed that we put in these relative equal lows right here. So we were chopping around. I did not want to try to get too cute with this price action. Again, my final target would have been these daily lows. But because we were chopping around so much, it was sort of search and destroy. I decided that once we swept these relative equal lows, because it was such an obvious liquidity pool, I decided to get out there because I thought that we could potentially reverse after taking these lows and I would have got stopped out. So I closed my position here. This is sort of what the trade looked like. And sorry, this is kind of confusing. My stop loss is green for some reason, which doesn't make much sense. Anyway, so this is what the trade looked like. It was about a 1 to 3, which is pretty solid risk to reward. But then as you can see, as soon as I close my position, I literally close my position right here. We immediately start dumping and we go straight to the New York lows, which was my final target. So this is just, like a bit of a slap in the face. But I was not willing to hold for another 50 or 20 minutes in this position. I was already holding for 35 minutes and it was starting to drive me crazy. And then as you can see, price just dumps. Price dumps and hits my target. Not only do we hit the first target, but we hit the second target, being the daily lows here. So if you zoom out and go to the higher time frame, you can see that this was the first daily fair value gap. So I was also looking at that. But yeah, man, trading, it's just so easy to get emotional in this game. And when you're sitting through chop like this and your stop loss almost gets hit by a tick, your emotions are just going wild. And it's so important to try to learn to control those emotions when you're trading these types of conditions. And yeah, man, this is just, sort of touching base on the title. Trading can drive you crazy. And this is one of those days that really tested my patience. I feel like I handled it relatively well, but, I started to get frustrated. And whenever I noticed myself starting to get frustrated, I always try to take a deep breath and just relax, right? Because that's when you blow your accounts. That's when you can really do some real damage. So for example, let's say I did get stopped out here and then the market turned around and hit my take profit. I would have felt like the market robbed me. And if your emotions are going too crazy, that's when you're going to start taking stupid plays. Luckily, this trade did work out. The second trade was a big winner, but you just need to be careful how you manage your emotions in these conditions, man, because I found that in the past, whenever I felt like I got robbed or whenever I just got stopped out by a tick, that's when I started hopping in plays that just didn't make sense because I felt like the market owed me and I felt like I needed to make it back. So days where you just feel like you're going a little crazy and you feel like the market's acting a little squirrely and targeting your stop losses, those are the days where you really just need to take a deep breath, take a step away from the computer for a second and just, relax. So luckily, I was relatively my discipline was decent today. I only took 2 trades on the day. I made up the loss in a little bit. I'll show the executions on the screen. But yeah, that was basically Monday. Just wanted to go over the day. I know I haven't really been releasing many videos because last week was election week, so we weren't really trading too much. There was really nothing interesting to talk about. But yeah, that was Monday. I'm excited for the rest of the week. I think we're gonna have some decent price action. We got a lot of red folder news coming up. A lot of data highs and data lows are going to be put in. So I'm excited and hopefully we can bank on some of these days coming up, man. So yeah, that's basically it. That's Monday. The only reason I was really trading today is because the higher time frame looks so great. I had that conviction. First trade, I was maybe just a little bit too early, but second trade luckily played out. And yeah, that's basically it.